Hey, Tommy, can you hear me? I'm trying to reach you and I'm not really hearing anything back. Can you hear me? Hello? Amanda to Tommy? Amanda to Tommy? Do you hear me?
Amanda?
Hey, Lisa. Hey. Tommy, hang on just a second.
Interesting. For Tommy to be able to respond to you, you need to be able to listen, which means taking your finger off. Yeah, because putting the finger on means you're talking, but as long as you keep your finger on that, Tommy can't respond. So...
Oh, that explains so much.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, I just learned something new. I'm going to take my finger off the button, and you tell me if you can hear me.
Okay, well, there may still be another issue, but let's talk about that one first.
Okay.
So
he can wait.
As long as it's not an emergency, I'm sure he can.
It's not.
Okay, good. So yeah, when it comes to listening, it's really important that we actually stop in our communication, right? Because when we want to communicate, sometimes we just want to say what we want to say and just keep going and tell kids what we think they need to hear, instead of stopping and listening to them and their needs and hearing what it is that they need to share.
That reminds me of James 1:19. No, James is a different friend. He wrote a Bible book.
He's a really good friend.
No, James 1:19 talks about being swift to hear and slow to speak.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a wonderful example, because sometimes in leadership, we just really want to tell the kids what to do and get in there, and we just don't slow down and actually listen to them and hear their needs.
What does listening to them look like?
Well, it could look like getting down on their level and looking them definitely in the eyes always.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and just giving them space, because again, we want them just to talk back real fast or give us what we're needing, and sometimes listening is just giving kids space for when they're ready to talk.
So like giving them space?
Sometimes it is that.
Okay.
Sometimes it can be that, and other times space as in just allowing them to talk when they're ready and feel comfortable enough to talk. But there's different things that make it to where they maybe don't feel safe or ready to talk. So you were saying you still had a problem with Tommy.
Yeah, he's not responding.
Well, do you know what channel Tommy is on? Is he on the same channel as you? Did you guys set that up ahead of time? Because it's important to be on the same frequency.
He said channel 2.
Oh, which channel are we on here?
I'm on 1.
Okay, let's go ahead and put
I
on
like
2
1
and let's
better.
try. I mean, I get that.
Hey, Tommy, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, nice.
Okay, I'll be right back. I'm doing something with Lisa.
Yeah. So today in our ministry toolbox, we're going to be talking about effective communication with kids. And so one of the really important things is taking our time and listening to the kids. Another thing is being on their frequency.
Yeah.
Can you think of what I mean when I'm saying that? Or want me to give you some examples? What do you think?
I like the whole being on your frequency. I learn a lot better by seeing.
Okay. Yeah.
Than by just like listening.
Yes. So some
Is that-
kids, yes, exactly,
Okay.
yeah. So some kids, they need to see, have visuals, others need to touch. There's a lot of different learning modes. And our curriculum, Alive in Jesus, makes sure that every single one of those areas are covered. So when you're doing your Sabbath school class, yes, it's something that you don't have to worry about that portion because that is built in, but you want to make sure you're hitting each one of those when you are using the curriculum.
Hitting each one.
Yeah.
So like when you're trying to like...
Well, I mean, yes, we definitely use hammers for hitting, but what are we trying to accomplish
I'm
with
trying
this?
to get this through the table.
Okay.
Like I'm trying to get my point across to this kid.
So we don't want to use a hammer.
Okay.
But yeah, using the right tool. So one would be curriculum. When it comes to this, screwdriver to screw something in would definitely be appropriate.
That makes way more
we
sense.
then can screw it in. So just like making sure our curriculum is hitting the way it needs to hit, that we're using a curriculum. Sometimes we feel like we can kind of just teach what we want when it comes to Sabbath school, but it's very important we actually are using our GC's curriculum. And also, when we talked earlier about listening, is listening to their emotional needs also, and being willing to understand what kids are talking about and what they're into and things like that. So it's really important that we use the right tools to do that. And one is definitely getting to know them in a more real and authentic way by listening to them and what they have to say.
I feel like kids don't have a lot to say though.
Because a lot of times as adults we aren't willing to listen to what kids want to talk about.
That's true. My world looks very different than their world.
Very different. Very different.
I mean, even just physically, I see everything from about here and they see everything from about here.
Yeah. physically, yes. And then also just our perception, the things that we're going through, our different experiences, which we're going to talk about in an upcoming video. But it does remind me of a story I'll share at this one, and that is once I was observing a Sabbath school classroom, and the Sabbath school leader asked what was the kid's hero. And she meant biblical hero because it was in Sabbath school, and the neighborhood kid talked about a superhero.
Absolutely.
And yes, and because that's what kids a lot of times think
their world.
of. That's their world, right?
Yeah.
And at first, the Sabbath school leader wanted to redirect back to the Bible lesson, the Bible hero, and I jumped in and I asked the little boy, well, what is it about that superhero that you really like? And then once the little boy opened up and started talking about the superhero, found ways to then tie that into the Bible story. So being willing to listen to something that's different than your world and just appreciate what the kids are saying.
And just building that connection
And
from where
trust.
they said it.
Yes.
And then going from that. And trust. I like that.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thanks. I do need to
Tommy.
talk to Tommy.
Okay, so
yeah.
go.
It was good to see you
Yeah,
though.
you too.
Thanks. That was super helpful.
Good.
Hey, Tommy.